Hi guys. Welcome back to my channel. It's a pleasure to be here. I must say I enjoy what I'm doing. I just enjoy sharing my story, sharing my experiences, and I hope that you are learning something so far. And I'm really glad that there is many who are responding and who are subscribing. So always remember to click the subscribe button. So yeah, today, without further ado, we are getting into that series that I promised about the 5 major things that I think I made like the major mistakes I made in my dating experience so far, and I would love to share that with you. I have given the backstory, I have given you a bit of a background about who I am and where this is all stemming from. But let's get right into it. Today I'm on major mistake number 1. And it's really a conglomeration of a few things, but I could speak to them, all of them at once, so I just made them into one, but they are all interlinked and related. So let's get into it. So today I want to talk about expectations. I think that expectations sometimes get in the way of our happiness because we expect things from people that we hardly know sometimes enough to expect anything from them. Especially when we just begin dating. So when you start to get to know someone and then you already start to build expectations, you hardly know this person, but you're already expecting him to stand on top of Mount Everest for you. So this is during your discovery phase. You're actually just starting to learn this person. Then you start to set, high expectations. And normally when you are very expectant, sadly, it normally leads to a lot of hurt. People who don't know us and we don't know them enough shouldn't be have that power to disappoint us. I don't think so, because like we hardly know anything about them. We are just getting to know them, but we build expectations that disappoint us, and we let people disappoint us. We could be disappointed about what we discover about that person, but to be devastated and heartbroken because this person didn't meet our expectations, I don't think that's right. And I found myself in the valley of expectations many times in relationships where from get-go I already have these high expectations. So expectations, I think, kill a lot of relationships, any form of relationship, that is. So for example, if you're expecting things from your family, you know your family very well, but even they, no matter how much you know them, they also can disappoint you. I mean, how many times have we been disappointed by family? Because your family is also they're not mind readers. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what you want. Same as the stranger that you have just met and are getting to know. They're not a mind reader. They don't know what you want. They don't know you at that level. So we then start to assume, that's what I would do. You start to assume that people should understand you, should know what you want, and they should know how to treat you. So I learned that we should never expect anything that we haven't witnessed in that person. You have not seen evidence that this person can treat you well, but you're already expecting them to treat you well. So my default now is that I expect people to be people. I expect people to be flawed. I expect people to be imperfect when I meet them. I expect people to be selfish. I expect people to disappoint me. And everything else is a bonus after that. And so when you first meet somebody and you're getting to know them, meet a guy, you're vibing, you're getting to know each other, I think you should take that as information. You should just take that as data, new data. You are storing more data into your database. So learn this person's habits, learn their patterns, because at the end of the day, you marry a person's patterns and habits. And it's a discovery phase. So you are investigating, you're a private investigator, and you're really like looking at this person and seeing them for who they are. So you can't start to make assumptions about what's going to happen, because that's what normally happens here with this guy. You're vibing and you already see yourself at the altar, you already see your kids, so you're already building assumptions about what's going to happen. And you start making decisions based on that. Oh, you know, that's what I used to do, and that's what normally happens. You already had these big assumptions because you are very expectant of this person, and you start making decisions based on assumptions. But you know what, in all of this I'm saying, we all naturally assume and expect things from other people from time to time. It's inevitable that we will become expectant. Though we know better, we continue to let expectations move us into action. So we start to over invest in those relationships because we assume that if I give more, the other person will give more. We start to give more, even we start to give our bodies as a token, because you think that will buy you love. You are start to do things that, you know, will buy love, sort of, you know, or buy favor from the other guy. He wants money, you give him money because you think that, you know, that will make him think that, you know, oh, I've got this girl who's very supportive of me. So we start to do things to impress the other party, because we are now full of assumptions and expectations, and then we start to expect the same things from the other party. And also, you know, it goes on and on. Now you are here trying to please this person, trying to hoping that this person is gonna treat you in the way that you are expecting. He's gonna love you, he's going to, you know, do all of those things that you think a guy should do for you. So now you really get into this place where you are just after pleasing the other person. And I know I found myself in that place many times, where I'm really trying to please the guy. I'm trying to show him I'm wifey material. I'm trying to prove a point, really, that hey, you've got the best here. Not that I'm not the best, but it's like you're trying to prove so much to the other person so that you can bring him on board, basically, that hey, look, this is the best deal you can get in town. Sadly. So I think doing that is really setting yourself for failure, because I don't know how many times I've done that and it ended in tears. So what I have learned from that is that, you know, you should not expect anything from the other party until you have witnessed it and you have seen it consistently over time. You have seen that this person has my interest at heart. This person wants to pour into me. This person thinks that you know, I'm the best thing after ice cream. You know, this person values me. This person knows my worth. You have to see it consistently over time. Then you can begin to expect certain treatment from that person, certain behavior towards you, certain things from that person, only after you've witnessed it. And also, yeah, so you know, you can still be disappointed, but at least you would have given it time and you would have seen, in as much as you might be disappointed later, but at least do not start to expect before you actually see what this person is capable of. And then yeah, so now that you have you're in this phase of expectations, what normally happens is that if you really do not know what you will or not accept in that setup, before you meet this person, you will begin to compromise your boundaries for that person even. So, you know, you really have to be grounded in your standards, what you call your standards, and your boundaries before you even meet a person. That must be clear to you. And you can't just wing it as you go. You know, you can't just wing it as you go, because every time you move a boundary post for a guy, he starts to notice it, and that you don't actually have boundaries that he can respect. And but then you know what happens is when you allow somebody to cross a boundary, or you know, to disrespect you, you then sit there expecting that this person that you've allowed to cross the boundary is going to stop. They don't stop. And you also expect that this person is going to read your limits. They know that, no, I must stop at this point, and they don't stop crossing that boundary. They never do. And you expect that that they are going to give you respect after they have already crossed the boundary. Too late. And so then you realize that the boundaries that you thought were solid are now shaky. And once the boundary is crossed, it's too late. So you find yourself in this place where you had so many expectations of this guy, and you allowed him to cross many boundaries, and he's sitting there disrespecting you, and you don't know what to do about it. You're deep in. So what you need to understand, I think what I learned that I needed to understand is that you need to know yourself. What are my non-negotiables? What is it that I won't accept? What is it that I've accepted before that I don't accept now? And you cannot mend things after the fact. So, you know, like I kept mentioning, that after the boundaries crossed, it's hard to amend things. And also what's the other party does, or what a guy does to you is their problem. But what you accept, so what I accept a guy to do to me is my problem. So I think it's important to be clear what you stand for before you get into a relationship, to know your lines, and to not to let people cross those lines. They have to be solid, and you have to understand them yourself first. And you know, you shouldn't let people cross lines or cross boundaries without them meeting a resistance from you, or having some conversation about it, an honest conversation, and without you just moving on. Sometimes we should be always willing to walk away. That's something that I also learned late, that you can walk away from things that you're not comfortable with, from a scenario that you know that is not adding value to you. You know, you hold on in hope, but you realize that, you know what, as time goes, things are not changing, because like I said, you had too many expectations and assumptions, and many boundaries have been crossed. So this is just some of the things that I learned, that, you know, expectations, we should be within the bounds of evidence that you have seen consistently, that this person is actually somebody that I can trust to treat me in a certain way. So don't go into relationship with expectations. Don't go into relationships with assumptions. Don't go into relationships not knowing your boundaries. That's very key. And like I said, I learned this over time, when I realized that, you know what, I was selling myself short, and I was being heartbroken in relationships that were not even relationships to start with. So yeah, let's be careful in those relationships here that we are in, and I hope this, some of my experiences here are opening up your eyes. So catch you on the next one, part 2. So this is the next session, where I speak about the second mistake, I think major mistake that we make in dating. Cheers for now.